Hi, my name is Jaden with Adventure Pilot, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about FAA chart data cycles. And really, the point of this video is to answer the question of how do you know that you're flying with current flight information? So, before we begin, it's important to talk about the National Airspace System and why the FAA has established data cycles for updating their chart information. The National Airspace System is constantly changing, and there are a bunch of airport closures, new frequencies, and airspace boundaries that are all changing and can affect how your flight transpires. So, what the FAA has established is two different cycles. One is the 56-day update cycle, and this includes data such as sectional charts, terminal area charts, chart supplements. And then for IFR, there's the IFR low end, high end route charts, and the IFR area chart. It's a 56-day cycle, which is every 8 weeks. And so the 56-day cycle is a bit longer than the other one because this information doesn't change as much as the 28-day cycle. And the 28-day cycle really talks about the terminal procedure publication updating. And the terminal procedures publication holds a lot of information about instrument approach procedures, standard terminal arrival routes, standard instrument departures, airport diagrams, and a bunch of other stuff. The reason this one is a quicker cycle than the 56-day is because minute changes in this tend to have a much larger effect than on the 56-day cycle. And in between these different cycles, if something were to change, say a tower comes up or, the president is coming through to an airport, this is where we get our NOTAMs or notices to airmen. So these alert to temporary changes in the national airspace system. For example, a few are temporary flight restrictions. A really common one is VIP movement if you have the president coming into your airport. Runway and taxiway closures at your airport will be noted by this. And then any special nearby activities, sometimes they do parachute operations, drone operations, which are now called DRODMs, and a lot more. To receive NOTAMs for a flight, you'll need a flight briefing. You could also view some NOTAMs in an electronic flight bag automatically by their system. However, the end all be all method that you should be using to get your NOTAMs for a flight is through a flight briefing. And the reason why is because that's going to be the most recent information that the FAA has available. And then whenever you get a briefing, it's also going to create a record that you have gotten that with your tail number and your name. That way, in the case of an accident or something, the NTSB and FAA know that you did get that briefing and there's a record of it somewhere. And in case you're curious, here are some sources regarding this information, and you could also find a lot online as well. And so now we can go ahead and talk about iFlyEFB and how you check your chart expirations and NOTAMs in iFlyEFB. So I'll walk you through that now. Now I've got iFly opened up and I can kind of show you where to define these chart expirations in our app. So first you'll click the menu button, then go into About, and then select Chart Expirations. Here you're going to see a list of all of the different charts available in our app, and then you can click through those to view if you have that chart installed and when it expires. If you do notice that you have charts that are expired, you can update these by clicking Menu, Check for Updates. You can click Advanced Options to select the charts that you want to install on your device. And once you have those selected, if you see green, this indicates that you have those charts and data installed for those states. If it's red, that means it's expired or not installed. And then if it's white, it's just not selected. So if you saw any red here, you would just click the Begin Download button to download that data. You also can occasionally see yellow on this screen for a state, and that would just indicate that a preview of the next chart cycle is available. So you can download that onto your device, and that will mean that it will be automatically updated once the chart cycle flips over. Now that we've talked about how to view the chart expirations, I just created a flight plan from Durant Regional Airport over to San Antonio. And so I'll show you how to get a flight briefing for this. That way we can get the record that we got a briefing, but also to show you how to get the most recent NOTAMs that you're going to be 100% sure are accurate. So after you've created your flight plan, you'll click Flight Plan, Briefing slash Filing, Get Briefing, and then now it'll have a few different options here for what you want the briefing content to include. And then it'll also have this section that says Account if you're on the latest version. In here, you'll just want to make sure to type in your 1-800-WXBrief.com account. This is typically your email, but it can vary. And this is just going to tie your briefing to flight service. Once you have that in, you should be good. Your departure time will automatically fill in here based on the departure time that you set in the flight plan. However, it's a good thing just to make sure that that's the same as in here as well. And once you're ready, you'll just click Get Briefing. Once you've gotten that briefing, it'll pop up here and give you the same briefing that you'll see on Flight Services website. And you can read through this, and it's typically in the most bottom section where it shows those NOTAMs. You can tap this little three-bar icon to see a table of contents there. It can be quite a long list of NOTAMs to disseminate through, but once you have some experience with it, you can kind of quickly determine which ones apply to your flight and which ones don't. And just because of time, I'm not going to be walking through all of these NOTAMs in here, but if you just click on that, you can read through them to see what it says. All in all, just make sure that you guys are flying safe and you verify your chart's currency every now and then before you do a flight, especially on your cross countries. Always check for your NOTAMs relating to your flight because the airspace system is constantly changing and you don't know what could have changed or is out there. And make sure you get a flight briefing regarding all of the weather for your flight, these NOTAMs, and to make sure that you have that legal backup that you did get a flight briefing. That's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave a comment or message us directly at our email support@adventurepilot.com. Thanks, and be safe out there.